Good morning, folks. During this holiday season, I've been doing a lot of cooking, and I thought it would be a good time to take a look at my Wusthof Classic 8-inch chef's knife. I've been using this knife for about 7 years now on a very regular basis, and as the video name suggests, it's a great beginner's chef knife. Now, I realize that the price of this knife doesn't reflect the mindset of a beginner, but pretty much every other feature on this knife does. The chef's knife is a tool, and as kitchen tools go, it's going to be your kitchen workhorse. Being such, it's going to need to be dependable, and the 8-inch Wusthof will deliver. It's a fully forged, full tang blade, and as a beginner, you should take note of that because you're probably going to buy just one knife, so that knife is going to need to do all the cutting in your kitchen. A forged and full tang knife will be robust enough to do so. Processing large amounts of vegetables to breaking through chicken bones, this knife will do all of that with ease. The face of the blade is broad, which encourages proper cutting techniques against knuckles, and the forged bolster allows for a comfortable grip when you need to choke up for a pinch grip. The black handle material is a POM material, P-O-M. I can't pronounce the full name of that acronym, but the important thing here is that it's very easy to clean and doesn't hold food fibers. POM materials are very common and are used in a variety of industries. Although they are dimensionally unstable when machined to thin thicknesses, the pieces that make up the handle in the Wusthof are quite thick and will hold dimension over time. This means that after years of use and washing in hot water, your blade and handles will still have a smooth transition. There won't be any misalignment, as is proof with my knife. Now the material is X50 CR-MOV 15. This is where the knife loses its edge, literally. It's a German stainless steel with the X referring to carbon content as 0.5%. The CR is your chromium element, which gives the knife its stainless characteristics. And the MO and V stand for molybdenum and vanadium, which adds hardness, hardenability, and toughness, among other things. That's all well and fine, but what you need to take away from this is that this blade material dulls very quickly, and don't let the salesperson at Williams & Sonoma convince you otherwise. Now, dulls quickly is a relative term, so let me give you an example. I use this knife 4 to 5 times a week, and the most common foods I process with it are onions, garlic, celery, tomatoes, raw chicken, and beef chuck. After 2 weeks of use, this knife needs to be resharpened. I do run it across a steel before each use, which can extend the time between sharpenings, but only by a marginal amount. Now I should mention your cutting surface does play a factor in edge retention, so for reference I cut on it both an end grain butcher block and a rich light cutting board. But edge retention aside, I will say this is a very tough knife. I have had no issues with bending or chipping. Now, a beginner should never use a dull knife. However, what the Wusthof will do is force you to sharpen your knife often, and you should learn how to sharpen it by hand on a stone. You don't need expensive or fancy stones, just something with a coarse, medium, and fine grit. I use Smith's Tri-Hone, which works just fine for me. One last thing, you may have noticed there's a small notch in my knife near the bolster. This is what's known as a choil. Now, Wusthof doesn't put this feature on their knives, however, I would suggest using a file to grind one in on your knife. What this will allow you to do is sharpen the full length of your blade all the way up to the bolster. Without this, the bolster can get in the way and you'll find yourself grinding into your stone rather than actually sharpening the edge. So folks, there you have it, a Wusthof Classic kitchen workhorse. Have a good holiday. Cheers.